just can't believe it. Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. My name is Nadiaxel and today is a very special occasion because this is my 20,000 subscribers special video. I was thinking about it for a while and I ended up going with the Q&A for this special occasion where I wanted you guys to ask as many, well, either serious or ridiculous questions as possible. I've gotten so many amazing questions, so thank you so much for that. I'm afraid I can't make it through all of them, but I will definitely give it a try. And meanwhile, I hope you'll enjoy the speed paint that I did for you, which is a new Meet the Artist drawing, because it's been a while since I last did one and I thought I could use an updated version. So let's get started. So Mix de la Cruz asks, aside from drawing great artworks, thank you, what else do you do? Are you also a casual gamer? Yes, I am, in fact, a very casual gamer. I've been into video games since always. Right at the moment I play mostly Overwatch, but I'm also supposed to get started on Detroit. So Nadiaxel asked, how long did it take for you to develop your art style? And how long does it take for you to finish your art? Well, it really depends how long it takes me to finish my art. Sometimes I spend half an hour on a sketch, sometimes 1.5, and sometimes I go totally nuts and spend up to 10 hours on a single drawing. In regards to how long it took me to develop my art style, it's really a complex question. And I think I'm kind of answering it in my other video about art styles. I'll put the link on the screen. Because basically I've been developing my art style since I ever started drawing. So you should definitely check out that video if you want a more concrete answer than that. I also get like a few questions asking how to improve figure drawing. I don't think I'm that good at figure drawing, to be honest, but the best thing I can suggest that you do to improve relatively fast is, of course, to practice. But I use like this certain website, I don't remember what it's called, I think it's Quick Poses or quickgestures.com, where you can set like a timer and then it generates like random poses for you based on images, and you can decide. For instance, I want to have 45 seconds to draw each gesture, and then I want to have 20 gestures. So I use that to practice basically as warm-up every time I have to draw for an entire day. And I really think that it's helped me get better at figure drawing, although I still have a long way to go. I also get like a few different people asking who inspires me or who my favorite artists are, especially on social media. Ow! I have like a few people that I really look up to. And one of them is Ross Tran, who has the YouTube channel called Ross Draws. I really adore his style and the way he uses colors, but also like the kind of person he seems to be. He's just really encouraging and fun, and that's really some of the things I like in people, and he's so genuine about it, so I really like Ross Tran. When it comes to traditional art, I really like Jacqueline de Leon. I think she's amazing with watercolors, and I wish I could be as good as her with watercolors, but I kind of suck. I think digital art is more my thing, but sometimes I just want to play with the medium, and I find myself always returning to her channel to get inspiration. I'm just mentioning these two because those are some that I find myself going back to all the time. But obviously there's a lot more of artists that I find inspiration in. I got a subscriber here called @Illustrator who has a bunch of questions. One of them is, what are my favorite colors to work with? I don't know really with specific colors that I use all the time. Like I think maybe purple and turquoise are some of the colors that I really enjoy. But if you like look past specific colors and look down onto a color wheel, what I really like to work with are analog color schemes and complementary color schemes. They also ask, how did your parents feel about you becoming an artist? My parents, at some point when I was, I think it's what's equivalent to later high school, they asked me if I wanted to become an artist, because at that point I was still striving to become a vet. At that point I told myself and my parents that I did not want to become an artist for a living, because it was my hobby and I loved it, and I would just end up hating it if I turned it into my job. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do, but I pursued something else, and it wasn't until recently when I realized that it is what I want to do. I can't hate art, even if it's my work. I can't. I just love it too much. My family has always been very supportive of it, and my husband, who is kind of financing my new freelance career right now, he's also on the bandwagon and supports me a lot. They also ask, what part of your drawings did you struggle with the most throughout your journey? Great question. I think I had like a hiatus, like a break from drawing for 5 years. Not that I didn't draw at all, but it was like very minimal, because I went to university and so on, and coming back afterwards was really hard, because when I stopped drawing I was like all in manga, and I wasn't bad, but I wasn't good either. I'd like been stuck in this little circle where I always drew something I was comfortable with, so I didn't like progress very far. But when I came back after the 5 years, I wanted to be better. I wanted to see how far I could go. This was before I made the decision to make it my job. I found love in art again, but I struggled to transition from that old manga I was drawing into something new. It's not that there's anything wrong with manga, but I just wanted to discover something new, and I wanted to have a style that was more cartoon than manga, and it was really hard to make that transition because I wanted to like learn the fundamentals all over. So that was really hard, and I think that was 2 years ago now, and I think like I'm definitely in a better place now, and I'm really happy about the things that I create, but that was really hard for me to get back into drawing. And your last question at Illustrator is, have you ever gotten your art stolen before? If so, how did you deal with it? Yes, I have. A few years back when I drew a lot of Undertale, one of my drawings got stolen from some mass production firm at eBay, and a lot of my friends' drawings of Undertale got stolen as well, and it was really frustrating because eBay has a really, really bad system for reporting art theft, and I never got them to take it down because I just couldn't figure out what form to fill out or what to fill out or who to send it to. Also in other small incidents, but I always try to like approach the artist nicely if it's someone who copied my work, because obviously I think most of the time they just do it to practice, and I always just go to the account and leave a comment, a nice comment on their drawing which they stole or traced from me. And if that approach doesn't work, then I usually just write them privately, ask them kindly to take it down, and if they refuse, I report them and block them. Thank you for all these questions at Illustrator, they were great. Next question, Liva Pedersen asks, what got you into drawing? Pedersen, are you Danish, Liva? Dragon Ball got me into drawing. I mean, I've always been drawing since I was a child and being very creative. But when I discovered Dragon Ball and found out what this whole manga thing really is, it was like a huge, really nice kick in the butt in the right direction. So I started reading a lot of manga, watching a lot of anime, and went to conventions, and yeah, basically that was my inspiration and how I got started. Sikota, you ask tips with dealing with art block. Oh, the infamous art block. When I feel like I'm in a bad place for drawing, I just draw. I know it sounds stupid and kind of like get your shit together-ish, but it also kind of is, because the longer you sit and stare at the blank paper, the worse it's going to get. You just need to put your pencil down. It doesn't matter if you scribble. I mean, you don't even have to make a figure. Just random boxes, whatever. Just do that on 20 sheets of paper, and then you're getting warmed up. So just put the pencil to the paper, or your stylus to your tablet, and just do something. It doesn't matter what it is, just do something, because that's already getting you started, and something about activating things in your brain so that you're prepared to be creative and blah blah blah, all that kind of stuff. The other thing I do when I have an art block is that I work on my fundamentals. So when I'm art blocked, it's usually because I can't come up with any stories for my characters, or I feel like I don't have any ideas for a good image. So I just work on my fundamentals. I look up tutorials on YouTube and get a better understanding of anatomy or light and shadow, color, or I read comics. That's also something that I do when I'm art blocked. But working on your fundamentals and forcing yourself to scribble something really ugly, those are the two methods that I use the most against art block. Roselle asks, did you go to an art class before, or are you a self-taught artist? I didn't go to any art schools or educations or classes or anything like that. I am only self-taught, and I mean, it's not that I didn't want to go to art school, but we don't really have any in Denmark, and those that we have are really hard to get into, or they are really expensive. So no, I didn't go to any class or school or anything. I'm completely self-taught. Cosmic Stars, my pal, you are asking favorite kind of soup. This question must be answered, the people must know. Tomato soup. Jill asks, how did you come up with your name? Well, that's easy. My name is Nadiaxel, and with a shared A, it's Nadiaxel. Delphin Rooms, nice name. You ask, have you ever felt insecure about your art? Or felt unmotivated because you didn't really have a reason to draw, or thought you weren't doing it for yourself anymore? Yes. Every day of my life. But in all seriousness, yes, I am insecure about my art. It's kind of hard to explain because I'm not insecure about all of my art. I think obviously it's when I get out of my comfortable zone, or when I need to like make something for other people, I get insecure. It's not that I don't like what I'm creating, for instance, when I do commissions, but I'm just a little more angsty because I know people paid me to do this, and I just want to make it everything that I dreamed about. So I become a little insecure, and I ask a lot of questions to my commissionaires. Is that what it's called? To make sure that they get it exactly as they want it. Because when I do art for others, I'm generally more insecure than when I do art for myself. And I'm always a little scared when I upload something to the internet because I'm afraid of how people are going to react to it. But it's definitely gotten better, and I'm also a lot better at just ignoring people who say bad stuff about it just for the sake of saying bad stuff. And yes, I also felt unmotivated because I felt like I wasn't doing something that was for me. And Jesus. But I try to like balance it a lot, so I don't take too many commissions at a time. I always tell myself, okay, I open just a few slots, and if I still feel like I can do more afterwards, I just open a few more slots instead of taking too many commissions at one time and then just die from unmotivation. Because sometimes I need to work on my own stuff as well. So I try to like balance it between clients' work or commissions and my own work. My dear follower Rumi Artist asked, why did you start drawing, and what's your favorite animal, and do you watch anime? So I like kinda answered the first question already, but I started drawing because I like to tell stories. I've always been like drawing small comics or graphic novels since I was little, so telling stories is definitely one of the reasons I started drawing in the first place. My favorite animal, the wolf. and dogs in general. I also really have a thing for rats. I mean, only pet rats, okay? But wolves are definitely my favorite animal. And yes, I do, in fact, watch anime. I don't watch as much as I used to, but I'm currently watching Persona 4, the animation. And I also have like a backlog of animes that my friends suggested to me that I'll start watching soon. So yes, I'm definitely still watching anime. I see there's also a lot of questions regarding my freelance life or having art as a career. And for now, I think I'm going to lightly push them to another episode because my freelance life is still so incredibly new and not really started yet either. So I'll definitely save those questions, but I think like I need to have a little more knowledge about my new life before I can answer these kind of questions. X-Wing 65, my man! What would you say is your biggest strength as an artist and the area you feel you need to improve the most? Boy! My biggest strength is definitely girls. Drawing girls and drawing digitally. Where do I need to improve? Definitely my fundamentals. I mean, they're not bad, but I often struggle with anatomy and I often struggle with light and shadow. I think my colors could be better as well, but I definitely feel I'm in a lot better place than I was a year ago. But there's like the fundamentals, and then of course I want to be able to draw guys. Guys who do not look like girls. There's another question here that's kind of linked to like the whole art block thing, and that is what I do to motivate myself, especially if I'm in a rut. I try to remind myself why I'm drawing. To me, it's because I love telling stories, but I always keep telling myself I want to draw for graphic novels. I want to make comics. I want to tell these stories with these characters. And if it's not enough to tell myself, I start working on it. So I start designing my characters or develop my characters or actually plan out what I'm going to do with these stories. And that motivates me a whole lot. Sina-chan, you really want to know it if I like pineapple pizza? I hate pineapple pizza. Who in the world would think to put a fruit on a salty pizza? I don't get it. Days where I put down my phone and turn off my computer to recharge and relax, what do? I play Overwatch. Kami Riri, you're asking, when I do traditional works, do I prefer watercolor or markers? I prefer watercolors. How long have you been drawing, and when did you start to take art seriously? Back when I discovered Dragon Ball and really started drawing for real, I was 12 or 13. So that's 16 years ago. And then I had the break for 5 years. So basically 10 productive years and 16 years since I started drawing for reals. And I started taking art seriously when I returned after my break. And I started asking myself if I could do this for a career. So that's when I started taking it seriously. Kitano, you ask, among other things, how many languages do you speak? English, Danish, very bad German, and bad to decent Spanish. So 4 languages. You also ask, how did I get into digital art? I discovered a drawing tablet in a local discount store when I was 14 or 15, and I bought it, and we just so happened to have an old version of Photoshop, so I started doing a little coloring in Photoshop back, 15 years ago or something, and it just grew from there. Although I didn't really start digital until I returned after my break when I bought a Wacom Cintiq tablet. I had like a Wacom Bamboo before that, which was great. but I didn't really get into digital art before that. I did have a tablet and I knew about it, but I was still mainly doing traditional pencil sketches. And you also ask, how were you able to make this into your profession? It's actually very simple. I just decided I wanted to. Toners Warren, you ask, how do you feel looking back at your own work? I'm excited that you asked because I was going to make a video about it. Because I want to show you my art journey, and looking back at my art feels good. Because I realize how far I've gotten since, and I would never ever consider throwing any of it out. I will keep it forever as a reminder of where I started and how I developed into what I am today, and how I'm going to develop into the future. What's your favorite food to eat? I really love this thing. I have no idea what it's called in English. It's a Danish tradition, and if you ever come to Denmark, you need to try it. It's called tarteletter. And I freaking love tarteletter. Do you have a celebrity crush? I have a lot. I think my top celebrity crush at the moment is Michael Fassbender. I just can't help it. Rockin' Rainbow. Approximately how many drawings do you do in a week/day? Maximum 1 drawing a day, if you don't count sketches. Finished drawings, I usually do them over a couple of days. So I can end up having an entire week where I only started a lot of drawings but didn't really finish one. And then a week where I would finish them all. So it varies. Sometimes I finish 0 or 1 drawing, and other times I finish 5 in a week. How do you find time to draw in your everyday life? Well, it's easy since I recently decided to be a freelance artist. I just got a lot of extra time on my hands. But before that, when I have a regular full-time job, I used to just draw all weekend, or like in the evening and into the early nights, but not that late. Lino Art, my sweetheart, you ask me what it is in art or in general that really makes me look forward to getting up in the morning and drives me to keep pushing forward and draw. Like what makes me decide this is what I want to do. And I kind of mentioned it earlier about telling stories, but besides like the concrete art related thing, what really gets me going is that I want to be able to control my own life. I want to be able to decide that I want to do what makes me happy every day. I only have one life. I'm only here for limited time. I want to get as much out of it as possible. I am not going to settle with a job that I don't like for the next 40 years until I can retire and then go out and see the world. I want to do what I love every day, even though there are some days when I don't particularly love it or it's really hard. I want to be able to say that I made the decision to do this because I love it and because I believe that it will make me happy. And that is one of the things that gets me up in the morning, because there was a time when I had a really hard time getting up, back when I still had a full-time job, because I was so confused about what I wanted to do with my life, and I feel like trapped, kind of trapped in the society and all the rules and the way that the world works. And I decided that I wanted to control my own life, and I want to be able to keep controlling my own life. And that is one of the things that gets me up in the morning, because it's actually possible if only I fight for it. Have you played Minecraft? Once and everything exploded. Have you ever thought about coming to America? Yes, I have. I even once thought I wanted to move to America, but I've never really been there. I was supposed to go there this summer, but I just can't help but love Japan, so... Do you have any pets? If so, what pets do you have, or do you really want to have? Pet rats. I have 4 pet rats. Male pet rats who are currently teenagers and fighting, and they just got mice. What season do you prefer? Summer, late spring and early autumn as well. And final question, which is touching a subject which is very close to my heart, is asked by Noodles of Doodles. What got you into The Legend of Zelda, and what was your first game, and which one is your favorite? You just started me, didn't you? What got me into Legend of Zelda is actually pretty lucky for me, because I had a Nintendo 64, and this was when the GameCube had come out, or was about to come out, so the Nintendo 64 was kind of dying, and there wasn't really many games left. I had gotten a little money for my birthday, and I wanted to get a new game. And so I went up to the store, and they basically had like 7 games left. And one of them was The Legend of Zelda Ocarina of Time. And I remember the box, it was all black with a golden logo on it. And I didn't think it looked that good, but when I turned it around and saw the screenshots, I was so like, oh god, this is an adventure I need to go home and try out. So I got Zelda Ocarina of Time for my Nintendo 64, and it's basically one of the best things that had ever happened to me. I mean, for God's sake, I'm a huge Zelda fan. Just wait until you see my workspace tour, which is one of the next videos I'll be making, because I have so many Zelda stuff. So that's what got me into Legend of Zelda. What's my favorite Zelda game? After Breath of the Wild, I was in doubt for a moment, but my favorite Zelda game is Twilight Princess. I know that a lot of people don't really like that one, but I really liked it. I think it's because it was the first Zelda game that came out that had so good graphics. And I really liked the story, and I liked Midna a lot as well as a companion. So Twilight Princess is definitely my favorite Zelda game, but I also really enjoyed both Skyward Sword and Breath of the Wild. And of course, Ocarina of Time just always has a special place in my heart, along with the creepy Majora's Mask. But Twilight Princess is my favorite. So that was it for this 20k special video. I still can't fathom that 20,000 people want to follow me. I'm extremely grateful. Don't get me wrong, I am. Also a little, what do you say? What's it called? Like, I feel like I'm a little under pressure now because so many people are watching. But I think the most important thing is that I keep just doing and making the kind of content that I love. And I just hope that you will love it as well in the future. So thank you to everyone who's been following me for a while or forever, or newcomers. I appreciate every single one of you, and I really love every interaction I can get with you, because you guys are the sweetest people in the world. So thank you so much everyone for watching this video. I'm super grateful that you're all here. I already said that, but I can't stop repeating myself because it's true. And if you don't think I'm updating often enough here on YouTube, you can go check out my Instagram, because I post several times a week there, mostly unless I'm really busy. And I'm really looking forward to seeing you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this one. So mwah, I love you all, and thank you so much for this opportunity and this journey. And I'll just stop now because I can't stop. Let's get on. Let's just check out the bloopers, shall we? Select nose tickles. Because I thought, well, you might as well get to know me, because I'm getting to know me. Not so pretty, huh? Nerd figure land.